Hi guys, so it's Luke here for SimBoxx in association with Clint Patrick. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Nick Campbell. Nick Campbell's due to make his professional debut this weekend on the Matchroom card. Connor Benn against Samuel Vargas. First and foremost, Nick, how are you? How's things?
Hi mate, I'm good. Thanks for having me. How you doing? I'm all
Yeah, I
right.
appreciate
Doing
your
good.
time. I can see there that you're away in the Matchroom bubble. How are you finding that environment, being locked away in your room waiting for your COVID test results?
Hi, it's crazy the times we're living in at the moment, so just got to adapt or die really. But I got in early this morning, got tested straight into the room, and hopefully have the results back late tonight or early tomorrow morning. So I just chilling out, watching some TV, having a wee stretch off and stuff. I trained yesterday, so today was, a plan for today again to be a rest day anyway. We've done all the hard work anyway now going into the fight, so it's worked out all right. But not a bad setup, so quite good to chill for a bit.
Absolutely, it's exciting times, and I think this is it's a really intriguing story and one that I've been eager to discuss with yourself because you've got the history as a rugby player. You decided now to turn to a professional boxer. Where did the journey start as a boxer? I know you've got a bit of amateur background. Do I start from the beginning and tell us a little bit about your history in boxing?
I basically, don't come from a fighting family or anything, but my grandfather was a professional boxer. My dad was always, interested in boxing. I was always a fan of boxing growing up. My dad used to take me around some of the amateur clubs in Glasgow when I was young, from when I was about 10 till I was 14. Obviously enough, I chose rugby at the time. Got a bit more serious and I kind of pulled back a bit from the boxing. Then I ended up, playing through the age group stuff for Scotland, playing for Glasgow Warriors, Jersey Reds, and at the end of my last contract with Jersey Reds, I decided that that was going to be it for rugby. And then at the end of my contract, I was going to have a go at boxing and see where it could take me. So that was how it went. I stopped playing 2017. Straight went into the Scottish Novice Championships, won that, and then just off the back of that, went on a run, done all right. Got on the Scotland team. Went to a few tournaments, went to a few training camps around the world with them in Russia, Thailand, Lithuania. It was, pretty, fast track to a certain extent. Down in Sheffield with them, span some of the GB boys. Just, invaluable experience really. And then at the end of last year, my now manager, Mark Dunlop, contacted me, who I had met in Jersey through a mutual friend, and just said to me, "Look, big man, now might be the time to, have a go at thinking turning pro because you're not getting any younger. And with everything going on in the world just now, it might be a good opportunity for you." So I just decided to go for it, really. This pandemic's taught us everything. It's that we should just, go with your gut and have it. Like, who knows? Like, there's no point in wasting time and holding off on stuff. So here we are, making my debut on the Ben Vargas undercard and match. I didn't really picture it, to be honest, when the lockdown started a year ago, but here we are, and that's what life's all about. It's taking opportunities. So
Yeah,
I'm just thankful to be here.
absolutely. You're going to grasp it with both hands, I'm sure. With with your rugby career, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not a huge rugby fan. I've got a lot of respect for it, but like you say, you're a professional rugby player. What kind of level did you reach?
So basically, I played every age group for Scotland. The same with Glasgow Warriors, who play in the Pro 14, or was the Pro 14. I don't even know what they call it now. I think it still might be the Pro 14. They'll be one of the top. They'll be in one of the top leagues in Europe. Played on Sky Sports with them, European Cup. Played in the league with them, against Leinster, Ulster, Welsh teams, England. So yeah, like pretty decent level. My final 4 years of my career were with Jersey in the English Championship, which is just a league below the Premiership. Played nearly 100 games for Jersey, and it's a pretty good standard. Played on Sky Sports with them as well. So, aye. Listen, like I say, I was how proud of what I achieved in rugby. So, and I played to a pretty high standard, I feel. So, I have no regrets from my rugby days, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, fantastic. So, as an elite sportsman, what kind of experiences and transferable skills do you believe you'll bring from your rugby career and your experience as a rugby player into your career as a boxer?
It's a question you get asked a lot. What transfers over? Obviously, enough you're not getting punched in the head when you're playing rugby. But as a pretty physical sport, there's a lot of different, injuries that you can get. It's as a attritional sport, so obviously enough I know how to look after myself. Know what's involved in getting your body ready for a confrontation, if you want to call it that. The professionalism as in putting hours in, getting up early in the morning, going doing all the right things. So I think there's a lot that transfers over, and I feel as if playing 8 years of professional sport in any capacity kind of. It gives you an edge. It gives you an advantage. It's not like I'm coming into boxing having never done anything. So I can't really complain. Like it's good. It gives me some good foundations. Also, make my debut at a pretty big stage for making your debut. Hopefully, my experience of playing in front of big crowds and playing on TV and stuff like that is going to help me deal with the nerves and the anxiety and stuff that comes with that. But you thrive off that. That's part of the game and something you've got to look forward to.
Absolutely. So if I was to put you on the spot, and you're about to make your professional debut, but you've got amateur experience, how would you compare training day in day out as a rugby player towards a rugby match, and then day in day out as a boxer towards like an amateur boxing tournament?
It's a good question, but I compare it to a pre-season in rugby. So every fight, you might only have a fight every 8 weeks,
Yep.
12 weeks. It's like a mini pre-season before every fight. Obviously, when you go into the start of the season, you do your pre-season, which is always the hardest part of the season. Once you get into games, you're playing week in, week out. So it's more important to get yourself ready to play rather than to get, big fitness. It's a lot more intense. It's a lot more, focused. Boxing is harder without a doubt. The intensity and the effort and stuff that goes into training.
Interesting.
It's a close one, but I'd have to give it to boxing.
So with your pro debut coming up this Saturday, am I right in saying that there was a date penciled in previous to this? I think it was in March out in Belgium. There was an opportunity out there to make your professional debut, and it unfortunately fell through.
That's right, yeah. Just my manager, Mark, phoned me about a week before the 20th and just said, look, I've just got off the phone with the Board of Control. You're not allowed to make your debut abroad. You've got to make your debut within the British Isles, which was, disappointing.
Is that a rule across the board? Because I've never heard of that before. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's one of the board's, regulations or rules about making your debut, which, is what it is. So you need to stick the British Board of Boxing, it's one of the top ones in the world. So you've got to back them and give them their place. So we just had to dust ourselves down, get back into it. And my manager, Mark's actually got a great relationship with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. He's got a couple of fighters that, fight quite regular on their shows. And he had actually managed to get me on the Acoli undercard. But we couldn't get an opponent in time.
Right, okay.
Just because it was such a tight turnaround and we had all the COVID regulations and people flying in and, it was a nightmare. And then when that never came off, Eddie said to Mark that he could put me on the 10th, and here we are. So I can't thank Eddie enough, and I can't thank Mark enough for getting him to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's how many people get to make their debut on a Matchroom card.
That's it. It's a huge opportunity. Is there any worries, with all due respect, of being labelled, like a gimmick, or the fact that you're a sportsman crossing over? You've got a lot nowadays of YouTube boxing, or people crossing over into UFC and UFC into boxing, or mainstream celebrities turning their hands to some sort of combat sport. Is there any worries that you're going to be looked at maybe as a gimmick? And I mean that with all due respect.
No, listen, it's a fair enough question. It's something that I actually have said, I'm not here to be a gimmick. I'm not here to be, pigeonholed as the guy, the crossover rugby player. It's not why I done it. I never done this to be a gimmick. I done this to see how far I could go in the sport. So for me, obviously enough, it's part, it's going to be, I'm going to have to deal with that because I was a professional rugby player. I can't get away from that. And if it wasn't for professional rugby, I probably wouldn't be sitting here having a conversation with you right now. But it's up to me to go out on the night, you know, and prove to everybody that I'm no gimmick. I'm here to, you know, mix it up and have a go and see how far we can get. I'm Scottish, you know, there's not many big Scottish heavyweights. I don't think we've never really been renowned for producing heavyweights. So, listen, I'm want to get the whole country behind me and see what happens and just go for it, make a real statement and show everybody that does think it's a gimmick that, you know, it's not. We're here to do the real thing. So, no, definitely, it's part of the fuel for the fire. Do you know what I mean? It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think with Scottish boxing at the minute, with Josh Taylor leading the way, and you've got Cash Farouk who's on the card as well this weekend, Lee McGregor. You know, there's a real budding, little vibrant mix of box coming through it in Scotland at the minute. And if Josh Taylor's following is anything to go by, you know, the Scottish love the boxing, and if you make a statement on Saturday and once fans come back, you know, there could be some fantastic nights up in Scotland.
Definitely. I mean, the other thing is as well, obviously my rugby background, although I said, you know, I don't want to be a gimmick and but I'm going to bring people the sport who would not normally watch boxing, you know, rugby supporters from Glasgow, Scotland, Jersey where I played, the rugby supporters in general. It's going to be something of interest, and that's a great point for me because I'm bringing people to the sport who would never normally watch Sky Sports boxing or buy pay-per-view and I've got to play up to that as well. Like it's part of the game. So I think that's brilliant. You know, I'm going to bring a different fan to the sport who would never normally watch boxing. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, you know, you seem quite a laid back guy. You seem like, you know, quite relaxed. But you know, you're on a big platform. You've got a big following, as you say, and switching over. You know, with all due respect, at quite a late age for a professional boxer. That's going to bring additional pressure. How do you feel you'll deal with pressure and expectation?
Listen, that's like I said, if you don't feel pressure and you don't feel nervous, then you're in the wrong game. That's what makes you perform. So just taking it in my stride. I've trained really hard for this. So, I mean, I've not ducked anything. I've always trained hard. I've taken sparring when I can get it with the best boys around that I could possibly get. So I feel ready. I feel ready to, you know, get up on Saturday night and perform. And like I say, I'll hopefully put in a great performance. I will put in a great performance. I'm looking forward to it. And there's no point in getting too worked up yet. But come Saturday, I'll be on edge. I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So just to finish with, what is the goals, the ambitions, the end game? Like you say, you're 31. You're going to be entering the game at, you know, a bit of a higher level than maybe somebody that didn't have the background that you have in elite sports. So what can we expect moving forward? You make your debut on Saturday. Where does the journey go from there?
Yeah, just getting as much experience as possible, as quickly as possible. I'll leave it up to Mark where he puts me out and who against. I'll be trying to get the best sparring I possibly can all around the country. And just trying to develop really. Like you say, I'm not the youngest. I'm not the oldest. I still think I've got about 7-8 years in me at least. I don't feel old. I'm fit, healthy. You know, there's no reason why I can't. Heavyweights don't really hit their peak till they're in their 30s anyway. And a lot of guys box on to their late 30s. So, I mean, you know, time's not on my side, but I don't see it as a sprint. I still see it as, you know, maybe a 10,000 metre race or something like that, not quite 100 metre. But look, I'm just want to have a go. There's never been a Scottish-British heavyweight champion, and if you're turning pro and you're going into the pro ranks, that's got to be a goal. Something like that, you know, there's never been one. Something like that would be amazing to try and achieve it. I understand how difficult it will be, and I understand the type of boys will operate at that level. But that's why I got into it, to prove I'm not a gimmick, to prove that I can do something in the sport, and hopefully we'll get to that level. It's up to me and how I perform, and I've got a great team around me, and my manager Mark, you know, he's looking after me. Look, he's got me on this for my debut, so you can't really ask for much more than that. So I've just got to go out and perform and do my part.
Absolutely, Nick. Well, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. I'm excited to be a part of the journey and watch your career develop. I wish you the very best of luck for Saturday. Go in there, get the job done, get the win, and I'm sure we'll catch up again in the future.
Been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.